Nearly 700 civilians killed by drone strikes in just 3 months. Sudan's civil war has crossed into a new phase of technological brutality that has UN Aid Chief Tom Fletcher declaring the world has failed to meet the test of Sudan. But why is this milestone in Sudan's suffering barely registering on global radar screens, while the Iran crisis dominates every headline? What happened today is not just another casualty count. These are precision drone strikes systematically targeting civilian areas across Sudan's war zones. The Rapid Support Forces and Sudanese armed forces are now deploying military-grade drones with a lethality that has tripled civilian deaths compared to conventional artillery. Tom Fletcher's statement today marks the first time a senior UN official has used the word failed to describe the international response. That is diplomatic language for complete abandonment. The drone technology flooding Sudan comes from three sources most governments refuse to discuss publicly: Chinese-made Wing-Loom drones, Iranian Shahed variants smuggled through Red Sea networks. And here is what most coverage misses entirely. Russian Wagner successor groups are providing targeting intelligence in exchange for gold mining concessions. This is not random violence. This is systematic warfare designed to empty specific territories. 3 years of civil war, 11 million displaced, tens of thousands dead. Yet Sudan gets 15 minutes of international attention, while Iran gets 15 hours daily. Why does one crisis vanish while another dominates? The answer reveals everything about how global power actually works in 2026. While Washington maintains naval blockades in the Persian Gulf, 0 American ships patrol Sudan's coasts. While Brussels hosts emergency summits on Iranian oil, no EU leader has visited Khartoum in 18 months. Beijing condemns US blockades as dangerous, but stays silent on drone massacres in Sudan. Moscow's Lavrov flies to China for Iran crisis talks, while Russian mercenaries profit from Sudanese goldfields. New Delhi watches oil prices spike from Iran, while ignoring refugee flows from Sudan that could destabilize the entire Sahel region. The calculation is brutally simple. Sudan has gold and some agricultural exports. Iran has oil that moves global markets and strategic waterways that can choke world trade. Sudan's suffering generates refugee crises that regional powers can contain. Iran's resistance can crash economies worldwide. Geopolitics follows resources and leverage, not human rights. This abandonment creates 4 immediate global consequences. First, the drone warfare tactics being perfected in Sudan will spread to every conflict zone within 2 years. Second, the 11 million Sudanese refugees will trigger the largest migration crisis Africa has seen since Rwanda, destabilizing Chad, Ethiopia, and Egypt. Third, Wagner's successor networks are using Sudanese gold to fund operations across the Sahel, creating a Russian sphere of influence from Mali to the Red Sea. Fourth, China's Belt and Road infrastructure investments across East Africa become worthless if Sudan completely collapses. The humanitarian catastrophe is accelerating faster than aid organizations can respond, but the strategic implications reach far beyond Africa. Russia gains another failed state to exploit. China loses critical infrastructure investments. Europe faces a new migration pressure point, just as it struggles with Iranian war refugees. Watch for 2 signals by weekend. First, whether the African Union emergency session actually produces concrete action or just more statements. Second, whether Egypt starts reinforcing its southern border as refugee flows intensify. If Cairo militarizes that border, expect Sudan's neighbors to follow within days, trapping millions inside an active war zone. Most analysts expect gradual international engagement as the crisis worsens. But current patterns suggest the opposite. As the Iran war demands more resources and attention, Sudan's isolation will deepen, not decrease. How many more civilians need to die before the world decides Sudan matters enough to act? If this briefing gave you a clearer picture of what's happening in the world, subscribe to Global Briefing Room. New intelligence briefing every day.